The last thing that I'm going to talk about, of course, that's our contact information, is the absolute importance of filing police reports when it comes to any type, and no matter how small it is. So here's the way we started tracking and realizing that we had a daytime burglar. Someone left a ladder on the side of the house because they were doing work, and the ladder was moved to another side of the house. They paid no attention to it. They asked the family members, did anybody move the ladder? No, we didn't move it. No, we didn't move it. So they go back to their business. About a week or so later, the ladder is moved again. They didn't put the ladder up. It's moved again. Now this time, the ladder's in the position, and he climbs up instead of moving it and saying, why is the ladder here? He climbs up the ladder. There's a slit in the screen and pry marks on the window. So now he knows, oh, somebody's trying to get in the house. There were the kids were very young, so it wasn't the teenagers trying to sneak in the room. It was nothing like that. 3 weeks later, they still didn't move the ladder from the backyard, but 3 weeks later, the guy finally broke in. Got in and got a few things and got out. There was a neighborhood kid, he's not a kid, he's 22, 23, who reported that their ladder had been moved also. So the police department didn't get calls on either. So now we have the second ladder that's being moved, all within the same few weeks time period. So now they moved these ladders, and both properties were right on an alley. These are all the things that have finally been put together as what this guy's MO is. So he's taking everything right on the alley. He's hitting, if they're not right there with patio doors and windows at the lower level, he's climbing and or getting access to a second story. Okay? Don't know why, that's just what's happening. So taking that, once we realized, and it was us in our office that realized, hey, there's a pattern going on here. And we looked back, we went all the way back to January. This was in the beginning of April. So we went back to January and started piecing this together, and I have to request police reports. So we started requesting the police reports, and now we're looking at to see if he's doing it, is this the same person? And there were 9 that had occurred throughout the Central West End, either in the north or across Kings Highway, on Lake and or Portland and Westmoreland in that area, and 2 on Union. So now that we've got something to go on, we contact 7th District, 9th District, and now they get involved. The thing about those burglaries that in more than 8 of the burglaries, they had damage to the house in 8 different ones. They had damage to the home, but because they couldn't immediately see that anything was missing, they didn't call the police. 8. In 8 of them, the police were not called. So once we sent out the alert where we didn't have a lot of information, the police said, this is all we know. This is all you can send out. Then people started calling. And they started looking extra and fine. And this burglar is taking things like antique silverware. Well, that tells me in the law enforcement hand, your young dope burglars, the younger generation, they don't know about antique silverware. You know, they don't know what they can get or where they can take it. But your middle-aged to older burglars are familiar. They know what's a quick, good loot. So we kind of have a pretty good idea of who we're looking for. They're taking jewelry. They're leaving electronics. So until this task force is completely formed and there's undercover, we're doing some with our folks combined with the on-duty police, so that they're all police, but Some of them are off duty, of course, working for us, and the others are on duty. We're trying to figure out and catch this person. And you know, if we're not filing police reports, we're already 2 months behind now, where we could have possibly gotten it. So the importance of, no matter how little it appears or what it is, times and things have changed from what they were even 3 or 4 years ago. Our police response times were very slow. Is that fair to say? 3, 4 years ago? Now that we're all working together and we have this communication going, that's all changed. The police are getting there fairly quickly now. So with that, as we get the phone calls and folks are wanting to know what are we doing about it, and forgetting that we're secondary to the police department, they're putting us up front, we still have to keep that communication and those chains going. So as we talk to our neighbors and folks who come to some of you with issues, we have to make sure we're contacting the police department. There are records kept, and everything that goes there, it's recorded. If we put all the responsibility on us as to what we're doing, I have a feeling we're going to start going backwards. That it's going to all be relied on us, and that's not good. It's not going to work that way. We have to make sure that they stay involved, and not that they're not willing, but we don't. I mean, it's great that we have these resources, but let's use them appropriately. And to remember that it's a resource. We're not the big dogs, they are. They're the ones that have to get in the forefront. So, I will be happy to take any questions. Would love to hear from you, certainly.
I just have a question. You said that you pulled old police reports. A police officer that came to me when I was trying to file a police report on us breaking in a car, he said that it was documented that he was there for a break-in of a car, but I shouldn't file a police report because they didn't take anything of value, and that I wasn't reporting anything lost or stolen or anything like that. So would it have been better for me to have filed a police report with him? Because he seemed hesitant to do it.
Yes. So let me say this, because I know as we see each other in the bank, my background, I worked as that guy. I was never like that, all the way up to a police chief. What you're going to find is that the police officers will prioritize in their own mind. If you call the police and a crime has been committed, he has to file a police report. However, the trick for the lazy cop, and most of the folks will tell you, I don't sugarcoat it. The lazy cop is going to do exactly what he did to you.
Okay. So really I should have filed it though, because it's not going to be on record at all that he came out there for that?
It'll be in the CAD notes. There will be no relevance. Showed up, and the only thing he's going to report back, she didn't want to file a report. Not, I convinced her not to file a report.
All right.
And that's horrible, isn't it? I know it is. I know it is. And if the captain were here, he would say the same thing. But what you have, even though the police are supposed to be, now let that be a robber, that same guy would be your hero. So the cops are like kids, okay? They want the robberies, the car chases and all that, and the girls, oh, you saved my life. Nothing broken in the car, nothing. I'm not excusing it. I'm just making sure